helping immigrants kickstart their professional careers in Canada. She's a BA consultant. She's a content developer. She's a course instructor at the University of Manitoba. She's the head coach and principal consultant at any consulting INC. She volunteers as a mentor with helping other people succeed, which is one of the initiatives by our second speaker as well. She has achieved a lot in terms of being a business analysis professional. And, all of these have clearly been done in the space of about 2 years. And I really want us to, if we can, give her a rousing welcome as she talks through, how to get ahead as a business analyst, as well as, what are the challenges, what has worked for you, how did you get there? I really am unable to finish reading the profile, just so we can get started, but she's absolutely done fantastically well. And, I'll just turn it over to Enoeka. Thank you very much for joining us, Eno. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Segun. It's a privilege to be here. I'm honored that you invited me to your meetup. Hi, everyone. My name is Enoeka, as Segun introduced me. So a little bit about me. I started my career in accounting. I studied accounting and I started working as an accountant, which is typical for every accountant, right? But I sort of, found myself in rooms where, business decisions were being made. Hi, Stacy. Business decisions were being made, and I found myself, in conversations that were not accounting conversations. There were conversations that were regarding business strategy, the decisions that would actually help the business grow. And, I thought to myself at that point, I'm like, I think I'm delivering a lot more value, than being an accountant, because I saw myself actually sitting in meetings that, other accountants were not. So I knew that I was providing a lot more value than I saw in myself. And at that time, I was working in a project office. So there was a lot of initiatives, a lot of projects going on at that time. And I kind of found the accounting thing repetitive. It was boring, it was monotonous for me. And I'm someone who has always loved technology and innovation. So I decided to, try other things. So I actually tried out project management. I took project management course and I started coordinating projects. And after a while, I decided to, focus on business analysis, meeting people like Segun here, who and some other friends of mine who opened my eyes into what business analysis is. At that time in Nigeria, it was like Greek when you tell people, well, I'm going to business analysis class or I'm preparing for a CBAP exam. People like, what's that? It was kind of strange at that point in time because the title business analyst was not a thing. Even till now, it's still kind of strange to a lot of people. Yeah, I always asking, what does a business analyst do? But I was able to quickly, sense where things were going in the world. I was able to sense that the world was going digital. Innovation and technology was going to rule over everything. So I quickly made that pivot, early in my career. So, so fast forward, I went to take a business analysis course, took my CBAP certification. I think then in Nigeria, we had to go to Ghana for the exams. Anyways, I had to do all that. So, taking a course, going to Ghana, taking my CBAP certifications. At that point in time, people thought I was crazy. Because like you're an accountant, why don't you just focus on your ACCA or your ICANN or something? I'm like, I see a future in this career. I don't know why, but this is really what I want to do. I find that this actually relates to the skills and competencies that I have. So at that point in time, like I said earlier, I was actually in rooms where we're discussing the strategy, trying to make some kind of business decisions that were way above my pay grade, as a junior accountant at that time. But I took advantage and leveraged on that. So, and that's something that, as an upcoming business analyst, you need to understand what are the competencies that I have that I can leverage in business analysis. So I leveraged all the competencies that I had, so my interpersonal skills, my communication skills, my leadership and influencing skills, and my business knowledge. I leveraged all that and of course my solution knowledge as well. As I was growing in my career, of course, coming from accounting, business analysis is, somewhat, pretty technical, to an extent. And, that was one of the major challenges for me. So working with a technical team where they're talking about a lot of technical stuff and a lot of jargons, it was almost Greek to me. So how did I get ahead? I started learning about technology, about innovation. As a business analyst, you must love technology and innovation. There is no way you say you want to get ahead as a business analyst. You cannot be a pure vanilla business analyst. I said this thing on LinkedIn the other day. Business analysis is now so broad, right? There's no pure vanilla. Like, I liken business analyst to ice cream all the time. There's no pure vanilla business analyst right now. You cannot be vanilla. If you want to be vanilla, just quit. Business analysis is so dynamic. It is changed. The changes are so drastic. A lot of things are happening in the global space. You need to keep up. So you cannot be pure vanilla anymore. You need to grab skills, as many skills as you can, and leverage those skills. So what I did was, learning the technical skills, learning what I needed to get ahead, what are employers looking out for? What are the people that I look up to? What are the skills they have, the certifications they have? I ask questions, whatever employers are looking out for. Do I need to take this course? Do I need to get this certification? And of course, having mentors, and people that will coach you along the way is fantastic, because you don't have to struggle on your own. You just find yourself, pivoting your career and, making those big leaps because you have someone guiding you, and coaching you. And that's something that I got early in my career. So learning all this, learning the technical things I needed to learning new skills. And then, of course, leveraging the competencies that I had already was what was able to get me, ahead in my career in business analysis. Now, business analysis, is not a career where you can just come and claim, oh, I'm a business analyst, and just, claim to have that title. It's really not possible, because the truth is, at the end of the day, even if you find a way to get into that job, you're probably going to mess yourself up, right? Because, as a business analyst, you make a lot of, sensitive decisions, make a lot of heavy decisions. The company relies on you for a lot of things. We rely on you as an advisor, right? So you cannot, just come and say, oh, I'm a business analyst. You need to grow in the career. You need to have developed yourself. However, there are people, who have been carrying out business analyst activities, right? But they didn't have the title of business analyst. So those kind of people can leverage their experiences, leverage the accomplishments they've had, leverage the projects they've worked on, that can relate to business analysis and get ahead in their business analysis careers. Now, what I tell a lot of immigrants is, fine, you may have been carrying out business analysis activities and, this is a career you now want to focus on, fantastic. However, I think, and what I advise for a lot of immigrants is to get some business analysis, training, get some knowledge, because why a lot of people even fumble when they get, an interview, because they don't even know what to say, as a business analyst. They don't know how to answer the questions, right? So get some training, get some knowledge. The IIBA is the global body for business analysis. Take an IIBA, course, certified course, and get the certification if you can. Now, I really highly advise certifications. And, I believe this is an immigrant crowd. Why I advise certifications is because, one, you're foreign trained, you have foreign experience, that doesn't give you a certain edge per se. So how do you become relevant? How do you find yourself to be, employable? How do you find yourself to be very marketable? How do you find that, your profile is one that attracts recruiters, attracts hiring managers? You want to have the relevant certifications. That doesn't mean you cannot do the job. However, it just validates your knowledge and experience. I'm like, okay, the hiring manager sees you and says, this person came from Nigeria. However, this person has a CPAP, has a PMP, is a certified Scrum Master or whatever. Let's give this person a chance. Let's give him a try. And then, of course, in your interview, you're able to speak to your experience, speak about the value that you can offer. Now, for a lot of us, when we move here, we suffer a lot of imposter syndrome. We're like, oh my God, what do I say? How can I speak to my experience and my value or I worked in UBA or GTB or Glow or Zenith Bank. It doesn't really matter, right? You need to understand the activities you carried out as a business analyst. How can I leverage my experience as a business analyst to move into a business analysis role here? A lot of us do not even know our accomplishments. We don't even know we just went to work every day carrying out our daily tasks like robots. But we weren't aware of the accomplishments that we had. And that's why we even struggle to craft a perfect resume as a business analyst. We struggle to speak to our experiences and our knowledge as a business analyst. And it starts with the imposter syndrome. Oh, I worked at GTB or Glow or Zenith Bank, fantastic. However, that's still experience you can leverage if you understand the skills and the competencies required of you as a business analyst, right? So you need to also build your mindset and your confidence, very, very key. When you go into an interview, for a business analysis interview, they're asking you behavioral questions. They want to know, how will this person act when she has to say no to a sponsor? How would this person act when he or she has a conflict with a team member? How would this person act when this person is not meeting a deadline? Those kind of competencies are where the employer wants to see if you're a good fit. Now, you need to be able to actually tell this, use your storytelling experience, tell your experience, how you achieved it in the past. A lot of us do not even know the accomplishments we've achieved. When you tell people to submit their resume, they all have just so many responsibilities. Yes, we know that you wrote documentation, fantastic. We know that you facilitated meetings, fantastic. However, what did you accomplish as a business analyst? Now, as a business analyst, you're helping the company grow revenue, save costs, client retention, employee retention, client satisfaction, all these things, improving the processes, increasing productivity, whatever your project, helps that company achieve. Why are you not talking about it? Right? We know that you can write documentation, fantastic. We know you can use Visio or Lucidchat, wonderful. However, what value are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table, as a business analyst? So these are the things you also need to know, you need to understand. Work with people who are already in the industries you want to work at, work with people who are already in the roles you want to work in. And like I said earlier, you cannot be a pure vanilla business analyst. A lot of the projects are now done in Agile. Over 70% of projects are done in Agile, and over like 68% are done with Scrum. So learn about Agile project management, learn about Scrum, and then other project management, Agile project management frameworks as well, not just Scrum as well. But improving your knowledge. If you want to be a data analyst, okay, what do data analysts do? They use Tableau, they use Power BI, they know advanced Excel, SQL, Python, R, fantastic, go learn that. If you want to be an RPA, business analyst, fantastic, go learn about robotic process automation. Find your space, find what works for you, and then improve yourself, grow in that area. Don't just come and say, oh, I've been doing this thing for so many years, fantastic. But business analysis is very dynamic. It's changing, a lot of the way. So these are things that I adopted, building my mindset, building my confidence, learning, or constantly improving myself. You need to continue investing in yourself. A lot of people that, that I see that are very successful, in fact, the people that are, speaking here and hosting, they're people who have invested in themselves all the way. And then you just want to, sort of mirror what they're doing, mirror what the people that are successful in the industry, are doing, and mirror that and ask questions, seek for help. People don't know how to ask for help and seek. I ask for help, I seek questions. I ask for help. There is nobody that is too old or too young to actually advise you, right? And, that's something that I admire with, someone like Shego. I met Shego many, many years ago. Until tomorrow, we still brainstorm on a lot of things. Shego is way older than I am. I'm way younger. But however, we still share ideas. We brainstorm because that's how to get ahead. Like, what's happening in this business analysis? What do you think? Where do you think business analysis is going? What do you think will keep us relevant as business analysts? You need to keep thinking, keep asking those questions. Your association matters a lot. Look, when I moved here, people told me all sorts of things to go and do nursing. Right? You have to go and work in Walmart first or blah, blah, blah. People tell you all sorts. People tell you that immigrants don't get jobs as business analysts. People told me all that stuff. Yeah. However, that was not what I decided I was going to. I'm like, that's not going to be my story. I will do everything possible to make sure that this works for me. So being able to actually sacrifice, invest in yourself, guys. Like there's nothing like investing in yourself. Invest in yourself, build a personal brand for yourself, right? Those are two things that have helped me to get ahead as well. Invest in yourself constantly invest in yourself. You need to get certifications, get it. You need to take a course, get it. You need to get coaching, get it. Pay to have that knowledge. I worked with someone one time, and I was very blunt with her. So she got into the company, as a junior business analyst, and working as a senior business analyst, and she was told that she needed to get her certification in a year. And then she came to me and she was nagging, like, why does she need to get a certification, blah, 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 blah. Why does she need to get a certification? She already has a job as a business analyst. I'm like, well, if you get it, the company requires that you have it. So you told them in the interview that you were going to get it. So why don't you just get it? They're still even going to pay for it anyway. She was like, well, now she has to go to a course and go and study, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yes, this is very, very important for you. Trust me, that certification you're going to get, this company may pay for it. However, you leave the company tomorrow and move to another company, you still have the certification. It's still valid as long as you keep the designation. And you carry that certification, with you, and that designation with you from every company, from one company to another. The company that paid for my CBAP certification, I don't work with them anymore, but I still have the CBAP, and I just recertify. So why don't you just get it once and for all? It's with you. You don't have to worry about it. You take it once, you've got it. Why you want to be a Scrum Master, go get your certification. You want to be a project manager, go get the certification. Invest in yourself. You want to learn, get some mentorship, get some coaching, whatever it is, get it. You have to show up for yourself, build your personal brand. So I'm not one of those people that will tell you not to have a LinkedIn profile and all that. I find it very sketchy when people tell me, a coach told them not to have a LinkedIn profile because they're from Nigeria. I don't see how that works, because a lot of people get jobs through LinkedIn. Recruiters are always, that's where recruiters go to search. They search for business analysts in New Brunswick, business analysts with Tableau, business analysts with Agile, whatever. They put in the search functions and they search for business analysts. If you're not on LinkedIn, then you're doing yourself a huge disfavor. Optimize your LinkedIn profile. Look at look at Shegu's profile. What does Shegu have on his profile that I think I should have on my profile? Optimize your profile for the keyword relevant in your industry, relevant in the roles that you're a good fit for. Now, a lot of us just like to throw our resumes around. We see 100 business analyst jobs, we apply to all of them, knowing that you're not a good fit for them. Why don't you look at the jobs that are a good fit for you? If you're not a systems analyst, leave system analysis. Focus on where your strengths are. Tailor your resume to those roles where your strengths are and apply. Now, you can also go ahead to try to network with people in that company. Network with the hiring manager, or the recruiter. Send them a message. Apply for this role. Send them a cover letter or something. Find someone to refer you if you know someone in that company. Go the extra mile. But don't just throw your resume around and say, I want to be everywhere. You cannot be everywhere. Know where your strengths are. Know where you can leverage your skills. So important. You have a lot of experience, in a software, in a domain. Then you can also leverage that as well. So I know someone who, she's always worked in corporate service, facility management, and all that. But she wanted to be a business analyst. So what did she do? She went to look out for specific targeted business analyst roles that had to do with the skills that she had. She got a job in corporate services as a business analyst. She was told, you need to go and learn R, go and learn Python, go and learn. She's like, well, I'm not a system analyst. I know where my area of strength is. And she focused on that and she got it. So focus on your areas of strength. Don't try to be like everybody, right? If you have a particular mentor in a domain, and that's the domain you want to work in, carry out informational interviews. Ask that person, what do business analysts in your sector, your domain do? I want to be an agile coach. Okay, talk to Bola. How can I become an agile coach? You have to look at the future. Don't just say now, I want to be a business analyst. What's the future for you? I want to be a product manager. I want to be an agile coach. Okay, what are the steps I need to take to become an agile coach? What are the steps I need to take to become a change manager? where is my career headed? Where do I see my career? Okay, this is what I want to do. Then now reverse engineer, work backwards. What are the things I need to do? So Bola has told you all the things you need to do. Fantastic. Now start taking them one step at a time. Start taking those steps, gradually, and you get there. Business analysis is so dynamic, and I can talk about business analysis all day. But the thing is, there's a lot of misconception with regards to, oh, you have to be technical, you need to have to know how to write programming languages and all that stuff. That's not true. You don't have to be a system analyst to be a business analyst. Business analysis is so broad. You can work in any level. It could be operational, it could be tactical, it could be strategic. Wherever you find yourself, right? You do not have to be a systems analyst. You need to know how to leverage your strengths. Now, if you want to say, make a switch, you want to become a system analyst, fantastic, right? So you go learn system analysis. However, you do not have to be technical or to be a system analyst to be a good business analyst. However, there are tools that you may need to learn. And, when people say, oh, I want to do business analysis, but I don't like IT, madam, go and do nothing. It's true. Or you go and do something else. You have to know how to deliver value to the organization. You need to recommend solutions to the organization. How will you do that without having solution knowledge? It is not possible. You need to love technology and innovation. Know what is happening in your industry. What are other companies in your industry using? What systems are they using? What ERPs are they using? Right? So business analysis it's so broad, yet you can actually become a master in something. And actually you can become a master in something and be known for it. Okay, so that as a business analyst, you're recommending solutions, providing value, you're collaborating and engaging with your stakeholders. There's a lot of things you need to learn. For a lot of us, we even lack the soft skills, and that's why we don't even pass the interviews. Let's say the truth, we lack the soft skills. We don't even know how to communicate. We don't even know how to actually show empathy. We don't know how to show our leadership skills. We don't even know how to negotiate. That's why we can't even negotiate good salaries, but that's a topic for another day. However, all these skills matter as a business analyst. See, yes, I'm in a group with consultants globally, and someone said, oh, we just interviewed 2 amazing business analysts, but we're stuck with which one to pick. And she was like, I need guidance here. And people were giving so many, and I said, I don't know. If you interviewed 2 of them, there's no way 2 of them would have given the same answers. Which one was a better culture fit? And that's what a lot of companies look out for. Are you a good culture fit? I've been in an interview where they asked me, what would you miss most about the company you're leaving? What would you miss most about it? And what cultures do you think you can bring into our team as well? We're a growing team. So there's so many things that you can't just know all the technical things and then lack the soft skills as well. Then you will not be a well-grounded business analyst, and companies may not even want to have you on their team if they don't see you as someone who is a great team player. Here, you need to really be a good team player. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be very also emotionally intelligent as well, with your team, in your project, and all that stuff. So there's so many things that you can do. And I hope you've gotten a good number of tips. Happy to answer questions, along the way, as we go into this, into this session. So thank you very much, Segun, for allowing me to share some things that have helped me. I just wanted to say that, final note that, wherever you come from, whatever you've done, it doesn't matter. Your experience is relevant. You just need to know how to leverage your experience and your skills. And then, of course, build up on those skills and invest in yourself. I remember Bola, I don't know if he's going to share this story, but I'm just going to share it. Bola spent he said he spent his first, I can't remember how much he spent, but the first investment that he made when he was supposed to buy a car was he went to get his PMP certification. And then, and after getting that PMP certification, he got opportunities to start training as a PM, and he bought the car that he truly deserved. Some of us are so big on instant gratification, or we want to have these things, but we don't want to invest in ourselves. Invest in yourself. Let me tell you, the person that is earning $100 per hour, and the person that's earning minimum with $13 per hour are giving the same value per hour. However, what kind of value are you giving? What kind of value are you offering to an organization? When I speak to people, they say, oh, I want to earn 100K, I want to earn 120K. I heard BAs earn that. Fantastic. What value do you have to offer? Have you increased your value so you can increase your earnings? If you don't increase your value, you cannot increase your earnings. It's simple. Invest in yourself. You are your best investment. And then afterwards, trust me, you can now get everything else you want. All right, thank you. I'll leave the floor to the men now. I'll open the floor for the women. So I'll leave the floor to the men
Thank
now.
you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eno. It's so really great to to hear your story, and you really talked about a lot of things, that are probably going to also cut across, through to the other speakers as well. You've spoken about the fact that you can't just be a vanilla BA. The reason for that is, and I found out that, you know it happens a lot of the times, like you said, stand out. You need something that's going to stand you out. Go for your certification. You need knowledge that is critical. You can't afford to, be a vanilla BA, because you'll be substituted by someone else who has a better business knowledge than you. And for me, that kind of puts you at a disadvantage. So the question is, why do we really need you? So, I mean, to be able to get ahead, to start, yes, you need the knowledge, you need the certification, you need to be dynamic. It's a dynamic field, and it's really getting very specialized. And I kind of spoke to all of that. So, and at the same time, I mean, I like the fact, and I really, really love that part of being a good culture fit. That is where a lot of, you know, I'll say newcomers are kind of stuck. They want to be able to get into that field. Some have a lot of knowledge. Some even have a lot of practical hands-on knowledge, through whatever trainings they've gone to. And they can do the job in a way. But the question is, if you are going to facilitate a session, and they can't hear you, how are you going to facilitate the session? you know it's So that's one part. Really, I'm not saying everybody should speak phone in quotes, you know what I mean. But again, at the end of the day, there's a conscious effort that you have to be able to put into you know your soft skills, and it's beyond the speaking or the communication part of it, but that's a critical part. Some people tell me, oh, it's difficult, BA roles, PM roles, agile roles. I'm like, no, I know someone who came after me. The guy is a PM, or the guy is an agile coach. Oh, I know someone that they are doing that. People tell me, they give a lot of excuses. Oh, it's because they're in big cities. But I'm glad to tell you that I disagree, because we have someone here who is right here from New Brunswick, and I mean, he's doing excellently well. Most of these guys that you see here are earning six figures. To be honest, I mean, let's put it very honestly. And if they can do it, you can do it as well. So thank you very much, and once again, we really do appreciate that. Two things. I think we have two questions here. So someone is into a logistics business, and the person is asking, how can business analysis help my startup grow? And anyone can actually feel free to answer that question. I mean, we have a lot of business owners here, so it doesn't have to be directed at alone. Okay, so and then there's another question. Someone says, I'd like to know the roadmap to certification. I'm currently rounding up my CPA conversion, and I pick up interest in business analysis and data analysis. So the person is a new immigrant. So I don't know if someone wants to quickly respond to that before we turn it over to the next speaker. So I think, okay, let me just take a stab at it while we, so yeah, I mean, the part to certification is, one of the first things I would say is go on IIBA sites and look for an EEP. The first level for me is knowledge. You first of all need to understand the knowledge, and then you'll be able to apply that knowledge to what you have. Like Eno said, your business knowledge is very critical, and it can't be overemphasized. That is one double-edged sword that you have over someone else who doesn't have that subject matter expertise. So as a BA, having that subject matter expertise in whatever field you find yourself is actually very important. And I think I would also I think one of our speakers would speak to that as well. Either it's finance. Finance is really getting very automated, and you are seeing a lot of, people, companies, big companies, enterprise, resource planning, solutions that you're beginning to use. That's one area you can actually leverage on as a finance subject matter expert. And I think to the other question, maybe I'll let Bola go for that.
Sorry, what's the question?
Okay, so how will business analysis help my business grow? And I want to try as well. Anyone can go for it.
Okay, yeah. So I used to teach in the business school, and I used to teach entrepreneurship and innovation. And I see most of the concepts that I cover in that curriculum come from business analysis. Because as a business analyst, you're more or less like the MD CEO of your organization, particularly if you're an entrepreneur. You need to understand the environment that your business operates in. You need to look at the actors and factors that are at play in your environment. You need to be able to spot opportunities. And you need to be able to quickly and very creatively think of ideas that will sell in the market, either to address the challenge or to solve the problem. So I find business analysts do better as business owners than people who don't have business analysis skill. It's all about improving your business. It's all about satisfying your customers. It's all about delivering value to the stakeholders. And that's what innovation, that's what entrepreneurship is all about.
Awesome.
Okay, I just want to add something to that question. So the person said he wants to start a logistics business, and I don't know
if
he already started.
Yeah.
So he's a business analyst, and he started a logistics business, right?
He's a pseudo business analyst, kind of starting, but he's already started a logistic business. But he wants to be able to leverage, the knowledge and business analysis in his business, and how it's going to help its business grow.
Okay, awesome. But I'd like to ask that person, first of all, have you done a business model canvas? Do you know all your partners? Do you know how you're going to get your supplies from? Who your key partners are? What channels you're going to use to generate income? What's your value proposition of your business? What resources do you need in your business? What your cost is going to be and your revenue? Have you done all this? Because I love the business model canvas because it actually helps you in a snapshot plan out the strategy for your business. So if you don't know what a business model canvas is, you can go online and search for it. It's actually something that helps you actually plan out the strategy for your business before you even go in. It's more like a current state analysis of your business. We're not teaching here, but it's more like the current state. Like, okay, what do I have right now? Do I have my key partners? Do I know who my customers are? The customer segments I'm going to be serving? What's my value proposition in my business? What is my business value? What activities are going to be revenue generating in my business? This is so important because a lot of business owners want to do everything. If you're a new business owner, I beg you, know when to outsource. Know the things that you need to leverage vendors and suppliers for. What are your key revenue generating activities? Focus on those activities because that's what customers will pay you for. Your business is there to drive revenue. How can we drive revenue? What processes do we have in place? What's the cost structure? Are we running a really low cost structure? So the business model canvas is going to help you do this. So try to use a business model canvas to kind of, set the strategy for your business, since you're a business analyst.
Absolutely. All right, I think we have just one more question. I recently completed a postgraduate in business analysis here in Canada and just got a job in a business analysis role. Although I am from an IT background and practiced as a project coordinator in Nigeria before migrating, what are the key skills for this role and how do I face this new landmark? Congratulations, by the way. So I think one of the first things I would say, or if anyone wants to go for that, that's fine. You're muted.
I think you should go.
Okay.
Chego.
Okay, go for it. I'll go for it. Perfect. Okay, so I think one of the critical things is this. First and foremost, like I said, congratulations. And it's an exciting role. and I'm very comfortable because you have an IT background. That's great. That's a plus. Now, one of the things I would also encourage you to do is, firstly, like we already mentioned here, you have the knowledge, you have a good IT background. I think it would be nice that you have a certification, first of all. Then, if you look at the job description and then you also do a little research on the company, you would be able to understand what the vision of the company is, where they want to be, and how you can actually bring in value into your role. You might have a job description written for you as a BA, but guess what? A lot of companies don't even know what they want. They just put something together and say business analyst. And I'm like, I've seen a lot of JDs like these people don't know what they're doing. They're kind of doing copy and pasting, you know. I say I know it's smiling because that's what they do. They don't know, and a lot of recruiters as well. You know, they just put something together. You know, it's one role where you can easily let us dump this thing in this guy's basket. And if you don't know what you are supposed to do as well as a BA, if you don't know your limit as well, if you don't know what is really, really your core, you will just find out that you are just you're just the beast of burden, and you are just doing all the work. And God help you as well. Maybe you've underpriced yourself. You know, so you must be able to understand. So that knowledge, from the certification would help you broaden your horizon. Researching the company is excellent, but guess what? You may even have to do beyond what your job description asks you to do. So if you would need any further, um, you know, if you need any further direction, please feel free to reach out to me. I know you know how to do that. Okay, because of our time, I would want to turn it over to our next speaker. He needs no introduction. You just need to go to his LinkedIn profile, and then you know the kind of value, this kind of person can actually add to your organization. Bola is an agile coach, is a project manager, is a scrum master, is a product owner. He's got a little IT background as well. He's done a lot of business transformation, type projects, and he's a co-founder at helping other people succeed, like I mentioned earlier. And he's done a lot for himself. He also writes. He's written a lot of articles in business analysis magazines, and he's a multi-award winning agile and transformation consultant. He's a speaker. He's a trainer. I mean, he's a fantastic guy. I don't just like it's too long for me to read. I can't read it all. These guys
Yeah,
are doing
I'm just a
amazing
friend.
stuff. Please make welcome. He's a very
Yeah,
humble guy, I must say as well. Please make welcome Bola
yeah,
Deshope.
yeah. I mean, when Shagun reached out and said, "Oh, I want us to," I'm sort of putting together a program to talk about business analysis with folks in New Brunswick and its environs, and I want you to come. And then he sent me the design, and I saw Eno and the other guy. And I'm like, "Hey, bro, like, I don't think I should just attend this, right? Like, I don't think there's anything that um." I don't think there's anything that I will add to or that I can add to um, an engagement that has Eno um, and Charles, right? And I sat here listening to the first 20 minutes and I'm thinking in my head, okay, what again do I need to talk about or what again can I add? Honestly, all has been said. I'm just going to add two things because Eno called them out. Investment in yourself. There's this popular saying that to earn more, you need to learn more. And so I can officially share my original story that I know. I think it was in 2010. I was working as an IT officer. I was earning, I don't know what I was earning, maybe 40,000 or 50,000 naira. And I really love project management, right? And business analysis and management consulting. And I wanted to get into the space. So I restructured my resume, CV, we called it then. I restructured my CV and I started sending it out. And I wasn't getting any traction. And I thought to myself, what can I do? So I got in touch with someone who told me, hey, how about give your profile something that may attract people to you, and mentioned the PMP certification to me. I was earning, I don't know, maybe 40K or 50K. The training was 120,000. So that's like my salary for 2.5 months or 3 months. The certification was 555 US dollars. At that time, a dollar was, I don't know, 100 and something. Um, and then I had some other guy who was working with me that were like both IT officers in the same department. And I'd been saving to get a car. So I thought to myself, instead of buying a car right now, how about I invest the money in something that will, rather than depreciate, because that's what a car will do, will give my profile and my account some appreciation. So I invested over $300,000, no, sorry, Naira, in just getting a PMP certification. And then my other guy went and got a car, a pencil light Toyota Camry car. And 3 months after I got my certification, I didn't just get a project manager role, I got a project manager role in a consulting company. And then I moved from earning 40 or 50,000 to 160,000. And then I started training. In less than 6 months after I got my certification, I made more than 200% of my investment. This was in 2011, and I still have the certification right now, and I still train. When organizations reach out, they say, "Do you have PMP?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, I do." And then recruiters reach out and say, "Okay, well, we're trying to fill this role. If you have 1, 2, 3 requirements, you can ask for 70,000. But if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5 including certification, you can command 90,000." One problem that I think I have seen with our guys, and I'm sorry, one thing that I've seen with our guys that I think is a problem is our unwillingness to invest in ourselves professionally. I was speaking at IIBA Vancouver last month, and I was surprised to see Shegun fly in from New Brunswick to attend an IIBA Vancouver chapter event. Matter of fact, when he got there, when he got to the venue, he got there before me, nobody thought a black guy will come because Vancouver is 75% non-black. So when he got in, it was like, "Oh, this must be the only black guy who's speaking." So oh, this must be Bola. And they're like, "Oh no, I'm Bola. I'm attending." Like, wait, you're attending? "Oh yeah, I'm attending from New Brunswick." Like, what the heck? Like, nobody literally believes. People reach out to me at times and they say, "I want to do this training," and they say it's $1,800. I'm like, And then this same set of people will come back and say, "I'm tired of where I am. I don't want to be earning $20 an hour, $25 an hour. I want to be earning at least $75,000 an hour." It's law of nature. You need to give in to be able to get out. If you don't invest in whatever, just like your business too, you don't want to invest in automation tools and you want to improve your processes, you want to improve your turnaround time, these things won't work. So that's one thing that I think a lot of people do. And it's more important this time and in this location that we're in. You know, in Nigeria, if you've worked in GT Bank, if you've worked in Dangote and you want to get another job in another organization, by just saying you've worked in GT Bank and Dangote, everybody will understand where you're coming from and they say, "Oh, yeah. But here, nobody knows the best organization in Nigeria." So the next thing that they're looking for is some sort of globally recognized authority. And that's where certification comes in. A lot of people want to get into business analysis, but they don't even understand what business analysis is. I wanted to come into respond to one question that someone asked, but then I decided to allow Shagun to say it. Someone says, what are the skills that I need to be able, or what's the roadmap for a certification? My response would be, what do you know? Have you been to iibs.org before? So that's that about certification. Another thing is the driver. Everybody likes business analysis because it's very good, but that's not a justification. That's not a reason for you to want to become a business analyst, for you to want to become a project manager, for you to want to become an agile coach. Because if you're joining business analysis or project management because a lot of people are going there, you get to a time where you'll be stuck. And if you don't have a very strong driver, a very strong justification for going into it, you're going to quit. Try to understand really, really why. If you're convinced, unfortunately, nobody will be able to help you. Coaches and mentors will help you to answer questions that can lead you to that path. So if you realize that, yes, your personality, your skill set, and your interest align with business analysis, the next thing is you need to understand what is required to be able to make that transition and to be able to succeed. And when you eventually get a gig as a business analyst, please know one thing, that business analysis is a combination of skill set, but much more importantly, it's a mindset of constant improvement, organizational constant improvement, personal constant improvement. A mindset that sees a problem as an opportunity for growth. A mindset that seeks to bring everybody together. And then lastly, volunteering. At times it may take you 2 months, at times it may take you 3 months, it may take you 4 months to get that gig. When you volunteer, what you're doing is you're literally preparing yourself for that gig. I was sharing, I don't know, I think it was in some session that I had with Eno the other time. Some person reached out and I said, hey, bro, I'm trying to get into business analysis. And while I am preparing, are there things that you think I can do to get me ready for business analysis? And it's like, oh, sure, why not? I co-founded a social enterprise called HOPS, and we have a problem right now. We want you to come in as a business analyst and recommend a webinar tool that we can use. This was last year or 2 years ago. Till today, dude hasn't come back to me. Now, if you don't have volunteering opportunity, even in your role right now, because it's a mindset, even in your role right now, start acting as though you were a business analyst. When I was going to move to project management, even though I was an IT officer, they will say, okay, guys, we want to upgrade our OS. And then I will start writing the project charter for that project. I wasn't submitting it to anybody because nobody was asking for it. I'll start developing the WBS for that. And when I got a gig at a consulting company as a project manager, and they started committing projects from banks and other organizations to my hand, writing those documents, facilitating those sessions didn't come strange to me because I was already sort of practicing them. So while you are waiting for that opportunity, start acting as though you are already there. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Lastly, again, I don't know where Eno got that, or whoever Eno talked to that said that. I don't know how someone will not want to have presence in a platform that brings professionals together. All the roles that I have got, 3 of them in Canada, have been through LinkedIn. All the roles. Some guy will come and say, hey, I have this role for Scrum Master. Are you interested? And then we'll go. And then lastly, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that you cannot do if you put in the time, the work, the effort. Because the people doing it don't have 2 heads. Matter of fact, some of us, our heads are bigger than the people doing it. Like you can see Shagun's head. There's really, really, really nothing that you cannot do. You just need to convince yourself that that's really, really what you want to do. That's really, really what you want to do. And then equip yourself with all the things that you need to be able to function in. What you can do is what you haven't learned. So with these few points of mine, I think I've been able to convince. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bola. That was really, really insightful. I think one of the part that really struck me was the fact that when
The
you
big
talked
head.
about
Oh, no, not your big head.
the the fact that business analysis is a combination of skill sets, but it's also in itself a mindset. That was like really spot on for me, because a lot of people will probably not have considered it to be that way. Maybe when they hear it from here, maybe it will probably stick more. But that's the truth. And like I tell people, it's becoming a fast-paced, profession. And I make a joke, and I say it everywhere I go. I say, if you look for me in business as a business analyst in the next 3, 4, 5 years, you won't see me there anymore. You want, but what do you mean by that? Oh, are you not leading business analysis here and all of that stuff? Are you not a mentor and all of that? I'm like, well, it's more than that. It's becoming very dynamic. It's getting very specialized. And trust me, you need some subject matter expertise as well. You can't be a vanilla BA like Eno said. So for me, that's really spot on. And I think I've got a lot of questions right here. And I'll start with Uchenna's question. So Uchenna says, could you please explain business analysis such that a layman who doesn't understand it would know what business analysis is all about? And I think I'll quickly jump to the next question. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to just mute someone just came in. Okay. So Bola, do you want to go for that first while I get the other questions, or do you want me to read all the questions and then you can take them in turns?
It depends on how you want to do it.
Okay, go ahead with that one first.
Okay, great. Without trying to sound theoretical, business analysis is that function that helps organizations to continue to grow. One, to continue to deliver value. But to be able to do that, the business analyst needs to understand the environment that the organization operates in, the trends in the environment, the problems in the business and in the environment that the business operates in, the opportunities in the business and the environment that the business operates in, and then advise the business on what the business should do to be able to solve that problem or explore that opportunity.
Perfect. Okay,
Very simplistically,
okay,
I do believe.
absolutely. Okay, I have a question here. I think it's directed at Eno. So it says, I just got the IABA certification November last year, but I'm still not getting much traction regarding getting a business analysis job. Any advice? I'm based in Calgary.
Did the person write my name? The person said hello all.
It's based in
um,
Calgary. Since you are based in Calgary, maybe you have more local strategies.
no. Well, so Ola, as you said, your name is Ola. So you have the certification. Congratulations. However, what experience do you have? And then what have you done? So what's your resume like? When I moved to Canada, I had a horrible resume. You know, there's no shame in the game. I had a horrible resume. I needed to rewrite it. How resumes, you know, are structured here. You know what? It takes like 5 seconds for someone to scan your resume and know they're going to give you a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the basic structure of your resume is first you have, you know, the key highlights, and then you have your, you know, your education or your certification, and then the accomplishments, your core competences, your accomplishments. Did you state your accomplishments on your resume? Did they have facts, figures, numbers? You know, are you stating, you know, how much revenue you're doing, the percentage of improvement? Maybe it was productivity improvement, or you know, cost reduction, client retention. Are you stating it with facts and figures? We want to see the dollars. We want to see the percentages, right? We want to see the facts and the figures. Do you have that on your resume? Or are you those people that just go and copy business analysis responsibilities and put there? Say I led workshops, I wrote documentation and all that. Are you those kind of people? So do you have that? Are you stating the projects you worked on? An ERP implementation project, what's the name of the ERP, right? Why did we need to do this? How much were we able to make? You know, what did, you know, implementing this ERP help GTB to do? What did it help First Bank to do? Sometimes a lot of our resumes are so vague. You know, you can't fool people. You say you worked on a project, fantastic. Okay, ERP implementation project. What did that project do? What was the end result of that project? Was it to, you know, improve your productivity? What percentage increase from 50% to 80%, whatever? You need to put in those facts and figures into your resume. So have an outstanding resume. Your resume should speak to the value. If your resume doesn't speak to the accomplishments you have, then put in your accomplishments into your resume. Keep it to about, you know, 2 pages. You know, focus on the accomplishments. Forget about your daily tasks. We know that you wrote documentation. We know that you assisted in testing. We know you wrote test cases. Awesome. What were your accomplishments, right? So putting those in there with your projects. And then, you know, use LinkedIn. The same thing. Have a very, very good optimized LinkedIn profile. Have the keywords in your resume, in your LinkedIn profile as well. Turn your LinkedIn profile on so that recruiters can reach out to you. Turn it on for job opportunities. Remove your privacy, change your privacy options from private to public so people can search you and find you, you know. And then of course, connect with people. So connect with recruiters, connect with hiring managers. You know, you see an opportunity in an organization, apply to the role. If you see who posted that opportunity, send them a quick message, right? And tell them, you know, why you're excited about that role. You know, connect with hiring companies, you know, recruitment agencies. You know, there's a lot of them that you can reach out to. You know, schedule a virtual coffee chat with them. Tell them about your skills and experiences and the kind of roles you're looking out for. Send them a very good optimized resume that can, you know, go through ATS. Make sure that you have the keywords. So you look at this analysis job ads, and then look at the words that, you know, that cut across all those job descriptions. You know, pick those key terms. Make sure you have those in your resume, and then network with people. If you build your network, when there are opportunities in companies that you have people or friends in those companies, you can get a referral. Referral doesn't mean you're going to get the job. That's something a lot of us also confuse. It doesn't mean you're going to get a job. It gives you an opportunity. So you need to also go there and sell yourself. So once you get those opportunities, then you go into the interview and you speak to your value. But I don't know what industry you're looking at. I don't know what skills or expertise that you have. But I would say, work on your resume, also network talk to people. And, you know, like Bola said, volunteering has gotten me opportunities. Trust me. So you want to make sure you're looking for volunteering opportunities. There's the IBA in Calgary, the IBA chapter in Calgary, volunteer with them. You know, see how you can help, engage and network with people. I mean, I went to my first IBA chapter meeting my second week in Canada. You don't need to wait for opportunities to come to you. You go and find those opportunities. You can't just sit down and apply and pray and hope. Go and look for opportunities. Network with people, you know, other business analysts. You know, find out what's happening in the industry. You know, let them know you're searching. Say it. Ask for help. I'm searching for a job. This is my, know your pitch already. This is my experience. This is the value I can offer to any organization. Right? So do all these things and hopefully it works out for you. There's a you know, there's Bola, there's Shegun, there's Charles, there's me. You can ask questions. A lot of people don't ask questions, they don't seek for help, and I think that's where they struggle with. So if there's any area you feel like you need help with, then ask, right? I hope that helps.
Yeah, let me jump in a little.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you something that will serve you for the rest of your life. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go back to what I said about business analysis being a mindset, right? If you see business analysis as not just skill set, but as a mindset, it will help you to practice and adapt your life and everything that you do using the concept of business analysis. Let me explain one thing. If you look at the definition of business analysis, you will see that there was never a word that refers to documentation and all of those things. What the three key things that you'll find in the definition of business analysis is driving change, solving problem, recommending solution that add value. If you understand that definition, and if you apply that to your resume, there's really no way you won't get the attention. Nobody's really interested in, well, some people are, but a lot of people are not interested in actually the task that you performed. Particularly if you are a business analyst in an organization, to help the organization or business drive change. They want to see the changes that you have driven in previous organizations. They want to see the outcome of those changes. They want to see the value that those projects added to the organization, and not just we implemented CRM. And so.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, Bola.
If I could jump in there as well to say something.
Please feel free. Feel free.
Okay, so two things I'd like to speak to. Number one, about LinkedIn, and the number two will be about your resume and how you describe the impact you made on the role. I think it's like quite ridiculous that you would imagine you're in a developed world and you're trying to get a job and you're not on LinkedIn. Like, are there still folks who think that can happen? Because really, what we call IM back home is what they call networking here. It's just the same thing, plain and simple. And LinkedIn just makes it very easy for you. So I'll give you a very practical example. My very first job, I got not through LinkedIn, but via networking. And the current job I have was all on LinkedIn. So the first job I got, at the time was trying to pursue an SAP training and certification. It was going to cost about $1,850,000, which I totally didn't have. I was just fresh out of youth service. So I'd met this friend who was a director in an SAP consulting practice to ask, how can I go about this? Do you have any tips that can help me reduce the cost? So what that did for me was it signaled this guy was genuinely interested in this. He wasn't looking for the job that would, pay some big money that would give him six figures, because I was truly and genuinely interested. So what happened was they got a new project earlier than they planned. So they didn't have an arrangement in place for a resource. So it was a quick thing. Hey, will you be able to do this? Because it's actually in Abuja, and at the time I was in Abuja. And what that did for me beyond being the very first job was that I got paid while being trained. So I got SAP training that was going to cost me $1,850,000, and I got a very good salary while doing it, right? The second thing about the job I'm doing now is you can't overemphasize the LinkedIn thing. Connect to the right people, not just being on LinkedIn, not just having the right profile. Those are very, very important. But you also need to connect with these guys. And one thing that we often get wrong is that we only reach out to these guys, recruiters, at the point of need. Hey, I'm a new business analyst, sorry. I just got my certification. Do you have an opportunity in your company? You're making it about you. If you try to make it about them, you get a lot better results. I'll tell you why. The recruiter for my company was doing SAP recruiting. So I had connected with her before she joined the company. So we had a rapport. So every now and then she would say something. We argued about things in the past and agreed to disagree. So when I reached out, because she moved to IGT, a company I'd been looking at moving to, for me it was, oh wow, this just fits in now, right? So I got a job that hadn't been posted. So that's really what you want to get ahead of the pack, because really, that's what this is about. If you can reach out to these guys, have conversations with them when you're not looking for a job. When they post things, comment on them. Let the comments be something reasonable. Let it be something informed. I can't overemphasize that. So don't just stick with liking, have an informed conversation about topics to discuss. And that is you selling yourself. That is you saying, I'm informed in this. And when you reach out tomorrow to say, hey, do you guys have BA opportunities? You might not even have to reach out. You just need to establish yourself as somebody who has a very good knowledge of this. And when they have these opportunities, they very easily reach out. Hey, are you interested, or do you know anyone interested in this? So back to you, Shegun.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate all the contributions. He said something very fantastic right there. Reach out to not just the recruiters, network with the right people on LinkedIn. Have that very, and I'm not saying over bloated, but have an online presence and follow the right people. Go around. There's something I do. I say to people when I was new as well. I mean, we all started from somewhere. So I'll typically reach out to people and I say to myself, there's nothing to be ashamed about. Well, I'm not a very bold person, initially I'm like, well, whatever. I would reach out and I would, if you accept, fine. If you don't accept, that does look the other way. If you don't help me, someone will. And, fast forward, the story is changing. So what happens? Have the knowledge, know the right people to network with, and the opportunities just keep coming. I had this very close rapport with a recruiter that's that way. I'm off one contract, and then before I'm off, she's ready to put me on another contract, and like, oh, you can do it. And I'm like, I'm busy. I can't feel the great skills form and all of that. Like, no, I'll give you 2 extra days. Ebenezer, what's going on? She just goes, and I'm like, and then I try to dissuade. I tell her things like, can you guys pay $75 an hour just to dissuade? The role says $60 an hour. And I'm like, can you guys do $75 an hour? Like, oh, you're a senior BA, you can do it. And she keeps pushing me until I say, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing, I'm done doing contracting. You know what I mean? So, and the opportunities keep coming out to you. Even when I started the full-time role, I had 8 opportunities in 3 months. And I said no. In fact, sometimes, and I'm careful to say this, just so people are not exactly feeling like, oh, what's he saying? I purposely dissuade those recruiters, and I just want to make a joke. And I'm sorry to say that again. And I told them, "Are you do $120 an hour?" One guy said $110 an hour. He said yes to me. But I had a full-time role and I wasn't looking to contract. So this was me just, reaching out and just trying to know what's going on at the end of the day. I mean, and I had my reasons. You can decide to be a contractor, you can decide to be a full-time person, and I had my personal reasons for, staying in full-time roles. So, let's feel free to, these guys here can do it. I can do it as well. I'll quickly want to, I know I've only answered some questions, but I'll still get to them. I'll just quickly turn it over to our next speaker. He's had a lot of experience within the business analysis, first of all, and then as well as digital product management. He's a certified product owner. He's done a lot of work on ERPs. He's pretty much very, very hands-on when you talk about implementing solutions, especially ERP solutions. He's done a lot of Dynamics. He's done a lot of SAP. I mean, he's a business systems analyst. We've talked about, being a BA, right? And I like that term again, vanilla BA. Vanilla in terms of ice cream. So you have a lot of flavors. That's what not being a vanilla BA would be. Vanilla is just one, what's the right word? And then, but you have a lot of flavors that you can actually put on top of it. So, and then someone asked a question that I would also like him to answer just as he speaks in the next few seconds, that how technical do you have to be as a technical person? So please, let's put it together for, Charles Nwogu as he talks through, his challenges and how to get ahead as a BA. I'll turn it over to you, Charles. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shegun. I just wonder why you set me up to be the last guy. You put me in a very difficult position.
Because people want to say,
right after this guy.
Those guys are in big cities. I want somebody in New Brunswick. So
no, but I should have started out, So it's interesting when I hear you speak. I hear a lot of folks speak about I want to get a six-figure, or I want to earn more as the primary motivation, and you're bound to get a bunch of things wrong in getting into this vertical if that's a primary motivation. I'll tell you something. I use a Tassimo coffee machine, and when you have two toddlers, you could wake up one morning and discover that you can't find your clothes to wear. So the disc that you used to wash the machine, I lost it, and I needed to. The machine wasn't working anymore, so I needed to wash it. And somehow I figured that each of those discs would have a barcode on top of it. So it was a quite easy fix to look it up online and print it off and then get another disc and then just stick it on it. And that worked, and the machine is working. And when that was so easy, I thought, hey, because I always thought, why is the coffee that comes out of this machine so small? I want my coffee a little more, right? So, and then I read up about it, and I found a guy that talked about how he manipulated barcodes. Good thing I didn't have to go into that, because he had several barcodes for different mixes that you want. So I took the barcode. So when I'm drinking coffee now, I get about 120% of the volume that I'm supposed to get. And this pretty much captures my motivation for being in this career. I'm a very curious person. I'm interested in figuring out how things work and how you can make more of them. And that's really what led me into this. So I told this first part earlier. So I figured, okay, I'd get into SAP consulting because it's something that I really found interesting at the time, but I just didn't have the money. First, the training wasn't happening in Nigeria, so it had to go to South Africa. So like the cost of the training, your living cost, and the certification was about 1,850,000. But I was lucky I got around it. I already narrated that. So I never consciously went into business analysis, if you get what I mean. I went into business consulting. So The consulting practice did a lot of things, not just SAP. They did a lot of business automation, process reengineering and all of that. And very easily those things will grow on you. Now, because of that, at that phase of my career, a lot of the learning, a lot of the training, a lot of the certifications I did were all channeled towards that. So I was doing a lot of SAP things. And then the next time I had a shift in career was during the Depression. So things went sideways for a lot of companies and they couldn't afford SAP. So before that point, all I'd been doing was SAP. And then that's when we started thinking, let's think of cheaper ERP solutions. We started doing a bit of open source. At the time, Open ERP, which is now Odoo. And then at some point, it felt like we were forcing our customers to buy something. There was that mistrust when you come and say, I sell only SAP. We felt it would have been a competitive advantage to come in and say, hey, I sell SAP, Microsoft, Odoo, but because of your reality, I think the best suited solution will be SAP. So we veered into a bunch of other ERPs, and it was at that point we got a Microsoft partnership, and that's when I went into Dynamics, Nav, and AX. So I've invested quite a bit in this. I've about 13, just ERPs. I've done about 8-9 years, near 30 full cycle implementations. And then I moved to Canada and I was in New Brunswick, which if you consider the outlay of things, just focusing on ERPs, just wasn't that easy to get in. And that was when I embraced the business analysis things. Because think about it, you have these skills that, you put together, and that's what makes you a business analyst. And lots, if not all of those, I was already practicing, I had experience and all of that. So at the time, it was just a question of, okay, just go get this certification to tie it all together. I just never got around to getting that certification, which, gives me a bad feeling when I hear you guys go on and on about certification. And the truth of it is this. I'll tell you the two biggest value adds of certification, which you guys already touched on, but take it from someone who doesn't have the CBAP certification. Maybe it will be more believable. It gets you in, I can't say that too many times. Forget if you really know what you're doing. Forget if you're the best guy for the job. If you apply for that job and you don't get shortlisted, all of that goes to waste. And that's one of the biggest value adds of a certification, especially for an immigrant, because you are an unknown quantity unless you prove yourself. So a certification which is standardized, so irrespective of whether you got it from back home or here, it's the same. They accept that. And that's one of the biggest values. It still doesn't, discount the fact that you have to develop this knowledge, that you have to build depth in these things. Because it just gets you in the door. When you go for the interview, you still have to convince these guys, right? And then I think Bola mentioned this as well. The second biggest value add of the certification is the fact that it helps you ring-fence your remuneration. So if you don't have a PMP, for instance, and you're taking on a project management role, there's a very low ceiling to what you can get. Having a PMP pushes that up. So with those two things in mind, it's always a worthwhile investment to get your certification. So I've been able to get around it, but that's because of a peculiarity in my situation, which I'm almost certain you don't have. So it's always very valuable to get that certification. But one thing I would want to de-emphasize is I also see a certain emphasis on just not from the speakers, just to be clear, but folks, just have this belief, you get this certification and you're home. Getting it is one thing, developing the knowledge is another thing. It's very, very important. Like the book said, it's an investment you have to make one way or the other. You have to learn this knowledge. You have to develop this depth. You have to develop the skills, really, because when you're facing your stakeholders, when you're engaging them, they don't care what certification you have, right? They don't care whether you have an MBA. Really, for them is this guy fixing my pain point? Is this guy getting us from point A to point B? And the certification tries to do that because you learn a lot of things that you have to go, that you certifying that, yes, I know these things. But you really have to, folks could cram or do something to pass exams, but you really have to develop that depth. It's very, very important. Now, and something else, I think it's pretty much covered. Something else that I found really interesting when Bola was speaking, he spoke about IHOPs. If you guys really should take him up on that offer if it's still on the table, really. I came here and I was very willing and happy to volunteer, but I never got opportunities. I got opportunities where I'm selling things in concession stands. Not that that is bad, don't get me wrong, but as far as how much it contributes to pursuing a career as a business analyst, it doesn't come near what Bola offered. So if he still has that offer on the table, it's something that will be very, very, very valuable. So I still don't see so many high quality BA opportunities locally. You could prove me wrong. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places. But of course, volunteering is actually a very good way to develop that experience. And network as well, because this is you. What networking does for you is it lets you sell yourself without the pressure or feeling on the spot that you have to sell yourself. These people engage you in a more relaxed atmosphere and actually appreciate the value that you can bring to a business. And that's why it's so important. So I have a job that I'm very happy with, but I still find opportunities to volunteer. Like the point of us being here is getting ahead, So the way it works is you get to level 1 and you're very happy, but you now aspire to level 2. So you keep trying to improve these things. So that being said, I would go back again. You shouldn't let money be the primary motivation, especially when you're new in this field. At this stage, if you're new here is you're new in Canada, you are new in this field. So that's 2 news. It will be very helpful to bend down and upskill yourself. Get all the necessary certifications you need. Importantly, one thing we don't really go back to do a good job of is, sorry, 1 second, she won't stop.
That's okay. A lot of times this happens a lot of the time, and then, some people are like, no, I have kids, I can't do it. Our speaker has kids and he's doing it. So you can do it as well.
Thanks for that, Shane. So I believe a lot of guys here probably have worked in banks or you've worked in organized businesses. And, if you really go through things you've done in the past, you'll be surprised by how much, be it soft skills or actual core skills that that intersect with what skills that's required of a business analyst. So even though you're new, you're not like a clean slate. It's a lot of experience you have, transferable skills that you can leverage. And that's something we don't often do. We just focus on, oh, this is. what skills a business analyst is supposed to have, and then we'll just figure a way of importing them or whatever. But it's like the chap that asked about being a CPA and switching up to business analysis. When I read the question, my first reaction was, hey, a CPA is a very valuable one. I wouldn't suggest a switch. I would suggest you fuse the two, assuming you're able to develop the business analysis part of it. Imagine you're involved in an ERP implementation as a BA. Now you're wearing two hats. You could be a subject matter expert in the finance, modules, and you could still, drive information gathering and process modeling. So try to fuse those two. I wouldn't suggest, leave this one behind and jump into this one. No, the two of them, you'd actually be a better business analyst or better CPA than when you go for just one. One last thing before I wrap up with the value of networking. It's more than just LinkedIn. Try to meet people. It's really, especially in Atlantic Canada, irrespective of how skilled you are, if no one knows you, it's that more difficult for people to feel comfortable going ahead with you, So it's important when you have the opportunity, put yourself out there. Forums like this one are very good. Magma had some mentorship thing that I think is very, very useful as well. So I think they've had 2 cohorts, there's a 3rd cohort coming up in summer this year. So if you see that opportunity, jump on it, don't miss it. They have this business networking events that happens at Chateau. I guess it's on hold now because of the lockdown, but those things go for them. You might not get, an immediate benefit. You might not get a benefit in the short term, but you might just meet one person, that could just be the one that will help you turn things around. I'll tell you a very interesting story. So I have this very good acquaintance of mine at IJT. He's been in IJT for 22 years. And he's a project manager. And he doesn't have a PMP. Again, this is not to suggest, no, don't get a PMP. It's very important. And this guy is internally rated ahead of a lot of guys with very impressive resumes. And I kept wondering, what does this guy do differently? I've been in, because we sell technology solutions, the project turnover is really high. So in a short period, I've been in IJT about 1 year, I've been in about 7 projects. So one thing I've noticed this guy do very well is not project management, interestingly. And this is why he's so successful. Whenever there's a problem, he brings out his phone and, he's not 2 persons away from, when I say 2 persons away, I mean knowing the people that are able to fix the problem he's having or have the information that will help him fix it. So that's just him. So you're doing a project and they say, we have a bit of a delay. Customs is not letting us bring in something, machines that we need, or maybe servers, because this is something for Brazil. They require that the data sit in Brazil, so we're not using our cloud servers. And it takes 2 phone calls, and this guy is speaking with someone in customs of Brazil that can help us with something. Speak all the grammar you can, have all the knowledge about processes you can. Nothing trumps this. Like, you turn around and you say, sorry, we've hit the budget and we can't, despite all the arguments we've made about, justifying an increase in budget, we can't go ahead. And this guy knows the right vice president in the company to call to make the argument. that's the value of networking, right? So these all things, they all work in consonance. So you do the networking work, you do the certification work, you invest in developing yourselves and knowing these things. And some way or the other, somewhere down the line, it will all tie in together for you. And I'm very, very, very positive if you stay consistent on this path. It wouldn't be a question of will you, it would be a question of how far will you go in this field. Thanks.
Wow. Thank you so very much. That was really, 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 really valuable. I mean, I like the fact that, I like the fact, that, you're very, hands-on with it, and, the kind of passion that actually pushes you into, what you do. That is actually really great. And for me, again, this magic that this your colleague performs, for me, I really love it. This whole networking thing, like we always say, you're all just 4 people away from wherever you want to be. Hence, this guy is just 2 people away, and then he's talking to the high and mighty. I mean, that is a skill that, wait a minute. If you don't really have it as a BA or a project manager, if nobody knows you, for instance, I play trumpet. Not everybody here knows. I mean, half the people on this call don't know. So if that is what I want to, if that is my profession, how are you going to call me that, oh, come and play in my function when you don't even know? Or maybe I sing and I'm singing in the bedroom shower. No one knows. So, putting yourself out there and then networking with right people, honestly, it takes you really, 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 to places. So I think there's one question. Someone said, how technical do I have to be? And I think that's for Charles. How technical do I have to be, to be a BA?
It's interesting that question is coming to me. I'll tell you why. I studied industrial chemistry. I don't code. So it's interesting that folks look at the 3 of us and think that I'm the technical person. So that's really answers the question about how technical you have to be. But the truth of it is, I work with technical guys, so this thing's rub off on you. I mean, you're building a solution or you're supporting a solution, and things keep going wrong. And I'll give you a practical example. I'm working with an open source ERP called Odoo, which is written in Python. And in open source, they say you spend time or you spend money. What a Microsoft would do for you, because you've spent money, is organize everything neatly for you. In open source, it looks like they try to intentionally hide things, so you spend time finding them. But what this did for me was, because I deal with these guys and you have fixed reports, and every time I'm going back and forth with them. And before you knew it, I could very easily read simple Python expressions and understand them. And over time, I remember once that a report, we won a project, and we had concluded and the developer had left. I missed my flight, so I was still stuck in town. And this problem came up, and really the query he wrote didn't capture dates very well. And like, this guy is flying, so I can't talk to him. And point is, this issue shouldn't have even been there. And I really had to bend down, go back, look through the code and see where they get part of the date. And there was, some of these things are built for the human brain to easily interpret them.
Absolutely.
And I was able to fix that. And, I found it interesting. And before you know it, I went into, SQL querying, and I write very good queries now, but I'm not a technical person. So you don't have to be technical. If I'd give you a short answer, you don't have to be technical, but you can't be put off by technical things either. Awesome. Because really, that's the reality of it. There's something we call day in the life. This is your day in the life. You're discussing solutions that often have technical ramifications. So you can't run away from it. And the fact that you are in Canada makes it even easier for you to get away with not being technical. Because most of the technical skills I have, I seriously wouldn't have been able to develop if I was in Canada, because everything is so fragmented here. On a project, on a typical project that I'm involved in, I'm a BA, I have a QA resource, right? I have a systems engineer resource, I have a UI UX person. So any aspect of the solution that needs a question answered or needs a solution, if it's a UI thing, the UI UX person answers it. And it just, because things are fragmented that way, makes it difficult for you to see beyond business analysis requirements, right?
Absolutely.
But back home in Nigeria, we have the Swiss knife approach where one person is the PM and that person is also maybe doubling as BA in some instances. While that is not best case, sometimes it makes it rubs off well on your learning. It gives you the opportunity to learn a lot of things. So no, you don't have to be very technical. I know when I did this, the job before this in government of New Brunswick, the lead BA of the department studied linguistics. It doesn't get less technical than that.
Absolutely.
You know, I have a lady, a friend, a connection I made here that's been a BA for, I don't know, 15 years or 12 years. She started out in Toronto and had to come back because she wanted to be close home. She studied English. This is a Canadian. So don't let that be a barrier. I mean, it shouldn't stop you at all. Absolutely. Again, being technical, a colleague of mine would tell me, he studied computer science in UDM, and he got this job at a tech company in Quebec. And so they asked him, did you go to college or university? He said he went to university, and he said, okay, so you'd be a BA. If you had gone to college, you would have been a system analyst.
Interesting.
As interesting as that sounds, the thinking here is because you went to university, you were exposed to more of the soft things, more of the business kind of skills. Sure. So you would fare better as a BA than a systems analyst.
Absolutely. And I think
I hope
must
that
say
answers
that,
the question.
Absolutely. It completely does. I mean, the funny thing here is Eno studied accounting. I studied business administration. Bola is the only one that studied something technical, right? Electrical, electronics, engineering. You know, so at the end of the day, you don't have to be technical. See it as a continuum where you might want to push a little towards the technical area as much as you want. Why? Because you are the one coordinating. You must know a little about everything, especially within the solution, you know, just so you are also able to answer questions. Nobody expects you really to fix codes, you know, but it's an add-on. Like I say, again, you don't want to be a vanilla BA. You want to have different shades. If you like, have 50 shades. You know what I mean? So that's exactly the way it is. And it shouldn't deter anyone that is for technical people. You know, I think in one of Eno's, you know, previous speeches, she says that, oh, when I talk tech, that's her line. She goes, when I talk tech, that's it. She talks tech now, you know. She didn't study technology. But when she's talking technical stuff, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I mean, a lot of people push it to me. They're like, oh, you're a technical guy. I'm like, they don't even know. But that's it. So it rubs off on you. You know, like we always say, you work with the technical people, it rubs off on you. But guess what? What makes the difference? We always say Canadian experience. What does Canadian experience even really mean? Canadian experience actually really just means soft skills. You know, it only means culture fit. That's what it means. And you know, a lot of the time, some people go for jobs, for interviews. They tell them, "Oh, I don't think you're really a good fit." What they're trying to say is that you don't have soft skills, or we're not sure that we can really work with you.
And a lot of the times too, we also see that when recruiters are talking to you, they want you to really try as much as possible to highlight how your experience actually, helped add value and solve a problem. Never forget that. I tell people, and I think this is one critical tip. If you've not taken anything away at all, please feel free to take this away. This is a very critical tip. When you go for interviews, first of all, make sure that your resume is on point and is tying things together. Tying it together means that, this is what you've done, this is the skill you have, and this is how you're able to actually bring out results to the organization. The organization is a profit-making organization. So a lot of initiatives are kind of geared towards, oh, digital transformation or process improvement or cost reduction or revenue, increasing revenue, stuff like that. Or how do we match the competitor? So you can be working in different domains, but still applying your business analysis skills. And that's how it kind of all ties together. At the end of the day, they don't want to know if you have a certification. Nobody cares. As a matter of fact, this is something I do. I just put my certification aside and I roll up my sleeves and I get the job done. That's what they want you to do. Nobody really wants to know, you need that soft skills. Yeah, if you are able to connect with people, those are the kind of things you're able to apply your interpersonal skills, your communication skills. You're able to ensure that you can, you can deliver value. Because at that level as a BA, you're not just talking to your peers. I think that's one little disadvantage we all kind of have as well. If you talk about hierarchy, you're probably not high up there. But guess what? Like I talk to directors like one on one. Like I chat with them. But some people on my level within the organization can't do that. And I've been doing this as far back, as from back home in Nigeria. In fact, as a matter of fact, I actually have a lot of them as my friends. In fact, when I was moving to Canada, they're like, oh, what's going on? Stuff like that. A lot of them nicknamed me, they call me TO. TO means transformation office because I was in transformation office. And a lot of them wouldn't typically just say hello to me. I mean, that's a Nigerian factor, anyways. They wouldn't typically say hello to me on a normal day. Guess what? They don't even know my name. But they know me. They know my face. They say, oh, Tio, because that's what we're doing together. That's a level of rapport. That's the level at which you begin to talk to C-level executives. So it's very important that your soft skills are actually on point and you're able to ensure that you're delivering value to a whole, a wide range of stakeholders at the end of the day. Okay, so I'm gonna have two people. Please feel free. I'm gonna ask you to unmute. Please, can you verify that there's no noise in the background? I'm gonna call on Osahon. He has a quick question, and I think I would like him to just go ahead and ask the question. Osahon, please.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for this meeting. I just want to confirm how would you recommend someone like me that's just about getting into the field to get a volunteering role?
Okay. Thank you very much, Osahon, for that question. That's great. Okay, quick one. I would say that first of all, and I think I'll throw this back at you. I don't know where exactly you are. Are you in Ontario?
Yes,
or
I'm in
you're
Ontario.
Alberta? Okay, so I think I'll let Bola go for that. You're muted. Excellent.
So how do you volunteer? There are a couple of organizations. Matter of fact, they're like structured organizations in Ontario that take your volunteering willingness and convert it to internship. And with that internship, you get the experience and some stipends. I don't know if you've heard of Career Edge, careeredge.ca. You can check that. Career Edge has several organizations that come to them for internship, paid internship, business analyst, project manager, and all of those. There's also a website that is dedicated to volunteering. What they did was they created a platform, and all the registered not-for-profit organizations come to them and post volunteering openings. I don't have the website in my head, but I can check it for you later and maybe just share it with you. So those are ways that you can speak to, if you have like people in your network, you can speak to them and they will advise you. But I know of Career Edge and that organization.
In New
Awesome.
Brunswick, there's is it United Way? Every now and then, they would have interesting beer opportunities, but those are like few and far in between. But it's something to keep, stay in touch, and you never know when you get one of those.
Awesome. So I guess that kind of answers your question. I'll turn it over to the next hand I see right here. Shosho, do you want to unmute and ask your question right away?
Yeah, thanks for the chance, and thanks for all the presentations as well. Those have been very helpful. My question is a quick one for Charles. I think Charles is his name. I see T Chike.
Yeah, Charles.
Yeah. When Shegun was introducing you, I think I picked that he said you're a digital product manager. Am I right?
That's correct. I did that back home before I got here.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, like, I mean, considering the fact that business analysis is evolving right now, in the light of transformation into like agile methodologies, Scrum, different types of it, like extreme programming and all that. What's your experience like when you look at somebody who is working or who has transitioned from business analyst into product owner role, versus somebody who is now like yourself or who has been in the past a digital product manager? I know these are two different worlds. They may be similar, like product owner and product manager. When we look at that, maybe you have some insights for those who are probably mixing such roles together with their job functions right now as business analysts, and they're doing as well product ownership. Like, what can they leverage from somebody who is experienced as a digital product manager to kind of maybe move themselves forward as well?
Thank you very much. I'm sure. I'll turn it over to Charles, and Eno and Bola, feel free to chime in as well. Please go for it.
Okay. You started out asking about Agile, and it got me wondering: are you in New Brunswick or some other province?
Yeah, I'm in New Brunswick. Yeah.
Okay, because my experience with I did a Scrum certification, and when I did the digital product management, we were using Scrum, and my experience with Scrum in New Brunswick as a whole, I don't see so many, I don't see many actual Scrum practitioners like organizationally in New Brunswick. It's something that companies look at and feel, oh, it would be nice to be seen as an agile company, but I don't see people, they always. I was having this conversation with Shego, so it's always a hybrid, which, if you think about it, they kind of compromise on key elements of Scrum, and even calling it a hybrid, I would say, would not be painting a very correct picture. However, I wouldn't dissuade you. I still know a few companies here who are doing that and doing a good job of it. Now, for the product manager thing, business analysis was a very, very, very helpful background for me. Because if you really think about it, as a product manager, you're literally running a small company within your company. So that appreciation for business processes, that thirst to always improve things is what will lead you to make that breakthrough as a product owner. Differences beyond this, you're also saddled with, interfacing with finance or accounting. The bills have to be paid, right? And you also have to deal with marketing and all of that to get out to your customers. So these skill sets are things that you probably struggle with if you don't have them. And really, that's probably what makes the difference between one product owner from the other. I'll give you a practical example. If Eno here were to be in such a position, I mean, she studied accounting, so you'd naturally expect that she wouldn't have issues understanding that, angle of things in the role. So my advice, which which is interesting you asked, because in thinking of getting ahead, that's something I'm thinking of going back to. Sorry, my boss is not too happy.
Somebody said she's the sponsor. And
Okay.
you are the BA. You are the product owner. That's the product. That's the sponsor. Eh?
So the interesting thing is, you have all of this, you're literally coordinating all of these guys, but there's a difference between when you're getting someone to do something, you have a deep understanding of how it works and how it should work. They can't bullshit you. So I'm personally working on UI UX skills, right? So I'm going through a course from
UiPath?
Sorry?
Would it be UiPath or?
UI, yes.
Okay.
So, but the course I'm going through is designed for product owners. So the UI aspects that will be most helpful to you as a product owner, right? I've done a lot of, I've been on this for like 2 months. So it's, as a product owner, these are some of the things that could make a difference. So beyond business analysis, which is very crucial, I think Bola mentioned that will be that's a very good background to start out with. It will be very helpful to branch into these other things, because if you think about UI UX, especially if you're dealing with something digital or something that's an application, it's an invaluable tool to have. If you as a product owner has a deep understanding of the workings of it. And that's something I'm currently invested in developing.
Awesome.
So I'd like to hear what the other guys think about this.
Sure. Thank you very much, Charles. That was actually, I forgot to mention that as a BA, you need to be able to really, 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 really multitask. I mean, it's a very crucial skill, and that was just on a lighter note. See Chike multitasking. Okay, I don't know if anyone wants to say anything. I have further questions, and can I just quickly take your question, Larry, please? We have very few minutes. We'll need to wrap up very soon. I apologize. If your question is not answered, please feel free to send an email, and then we'll take it from there. Go ahead, Larry.
All right, hi everyone. My question is this: what would you say? Maybe Charles can answer. Is the major difference between a business analyst and a business system analyst?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think the question is kind of trying to know the difference between a business analyst and a business systems analyst or a systems analyst, or we'll typically call systems analyst functional analyst as well. In some cases, depending on whatever nomenclature you kind of use within your organization, what's the basic difference? And I'll quickly just take a stab at it just before I turn it to Chike. So as a business analyst, right, it depends on the kind of environment where you work, for starters. But one thing is for sure, as a functional analyst, right, or a systems analyst, you probably are required more to be able to, get to know the solution more in a lot of detail. Probably a lot of technical skills are kind of also required, that you should be able to apply. Now, as a BA, you have a wide range of roles to perform with your skill set. You can also know the solution as much as the business systems analyst, whatever kind of solution it is, be it an ERP or a commercial off-the-shelf type solution or a custom built one, whatever it is. You also have a lot of responsibility towards your stakeholders. For instance, a lot of the business readiness activities has to be performed by you, not the business systems analyst. A lot of the interactions with stakeholders and the business might have to happen through you as well. A lot of the things that has to do with the process itself has to do with you, while you focus on the people, the process, and you let the other business systems analysts worry a lot about the details of the pieces of the solution. What you are concerned about as a BA is this solution able to achieve, to solve our problem and achieve the reason why we're spending the money in the first place? If it's a no, maybe you've not done your job as a business analyst. Is this solution, is this solution usable for the users or the business? If it's usable to them, how are they coping with the change? What processes are changing? Is it improving their process? Is it more efficient? Those are the kind of questions you want to be able to tick in your box as a business analyst. And you let the business systems analyst work with a lot of the details. And see, there is no one size fits all to this question. To the answer to this question. It really depends. And I might just be speaking from my own perspective or how it works within my organization today. But I think I'll let other people also take a quick stab at it. Okay, Chike, you can go for it.
Okay, I think I agree with a lot of what you said. The systems analyst would usually lean towards the technical aspect of the analysis that you're doing. So you're speaking of, for instance, you're trying to deploy a solution that will probably need to interface with other solutions. So the analysis of how this interaction is going to happen, the risk impact analysis of security, load considerations, and interfacing with the architecture team to decide how best the solution will be set up to achieve those. So if you think about that, you would appreciate why it's so important to have a more technical skill set. So pretty much what Shegun said.
Awesome. Okay, I want to just use this opportunity to appreciate everyone that has been here, and please feel free to reach out if we've not taken any of your questions. I might have missed it. I don't know if you can repost it quickly. Okay, yeah, I don't see any questions coming in again, but I hope we've been able to answer all of your questions. I want to say a very big thank you to all of the speakers. Your time is, we really appreciate your time. This is a lot of knowledge, a lot of snippets that have been dropped here. It's going to really take us, a long way. And, one thing I always emphasize on again is the fact that as much as possible, when you want to go far, you don't want to go alone. You want to go with people, So for me, I feel very confident having, these wonderful people just by me. And all together, we are charting a new course, especially for the business analyst.r in New Brunswick here. We're underway to get in our own chapter, and we would also appreciate your support, to be able to reach out and, let's come around and get committed and do things together. Together, we can make our province a, whatever city you are, Fredericton, St. John, Moncton, we can make New Brunswick a very famous and, to be reckoned with type of province as well. Where if you are looking for solid BAs, please feel free to check into that province. And then things begin to also open up and a lot of opportunities would, kind of come up. I think I would want to wrap it up. I'm seeing some questions. Am I? Okay, I see one last question. I think you need to answer this question. It's been, okay, someone said I did a certification last year and then I've got a banking background from Nigeria. I'm presently in New Brunswick. I'm not doing anything related to that just right now. My experience in banking is all over the place. I'm not sure if I need to specialize in business analysis. Well, I think what I'll just say to that is we've kind of answered that question in a way. Chike spoke to that, and I spoke to that as well. If this is really what you want to do, I think you go for it. And you can also send me an email and we can probably talk afterwards if you need some sort of career direction or coaching. I think at this point, I don't know if our speakers want to say one last words. Everybody, last words. Charles, Bola, ladies first. Last words. Yeah, I've muted. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Okay, awesome. So very, very enlightening session. I've also learned a lot. I'm trying to get ahead as a business analyst, learning from, the bosses. So my last words, everything that has been shared is very valuable. And if you were here from the beginning of the session, you would notice that there's a common denominator in everything that, we've said. And, for anyone who's been able to, grasp all the knowledge, you would know that the common denominator is your mindset. Like, what's your why? Why are you getting into business analysis? What do you want to do? What kind of value do you want to offer? When people reach out to me and, they talk to me about business analysis coaching, oh, I want to work with you, blah, blah, blah. I ask them some questions and I ask them, what challenge, in your organization right now where you work, what value can you offer? Tell me one challenge in your organization that, you can solve right now. And a lot of people get to know balance and like, why are you asking me that? Because I want to know if you actually have the business analysis mindset. As a business analyst, you're constantly solving problems. You're curious. When I shared my experience and how I started, even as an accountant, I was curious. I was more interested in how can we solve these problems, right? I wasn't interested in my daily accounting functions. I was more interested in, solving business problems, providing solutions, recommending solutions, delivering value. And I found myself in those rooms, where I was with senior management, actually working out the strategy for the business. And that's how I really got into business analysis. So what's your why? What are you doing right now? Even if you're not in a business analyst role, what are you doing right now that you can leverage as business analysis experience? In your past experience, what can you leverage to get into business analysis? There is nobody that has not performed business analysis activities. A business analyst is someone who performs business analysis activities. Now you need to know the activities a business analyst performs, and Bola has talked about that. So if you've heard what Bola said, then and you can relate to what he said in regards to what you do as a business analyst. Charles has also mentioned that. Then you can get into business analysis. So you've got your certifications, fantastic. Build your network, build your mindset, continuously develop yourself. Like Bola said, invest in yourself. I keep saying invest in yourself. There's nothing like investing in yourself. You reap the benefits of investing in yourself. Once you increase your value, you increase your earning. When you learn more, you earn more, and that's the truth. So improve yourself, invest in yourself, get training, certification, coaching, whatever you need to get ahead. In your industry. Business analysis is so dynamic. Don't be a vanilla BA. Decide what you want to do and then focus on, in that area and constantly improve yourself. On that note, I say thank you to everyone. It's been wonderful connecting with you guys. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Eno Eka. And I hope to, read your stories on how, you got ahead in business analysis, in your careers in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, and it was really, really great having you here, Bola.
Okay. So Shagun said Bola is the only one that studied something technical. I did electronic and electrical engineering in the university in Ife, the best school in Nigeria.
We don't want to debate that.
Really,
Did you say the best or the most beautiful?
hey, the best and the most beautiful. Anyways,
No, I just want about beauty.
The best and the most. But guys, when I started working even in IT, there was nothing that I learned in university that was applying as an IT student, as an IT officer. There was nothing I learned for 5 years in the university studying electronic and electrical engineering from the best university that I applied working in project management or business analysis. So the fact that you didn't do computer science or electronic and electrical engineering or something technical doesn't mean that you can succeed as a business analyst. Doesn't mean that you can transition to business analysis. Number one. Two, networking. There's this principle of networking that the best way to network is to do ABC networking. You want to be a business analyst, network with business analysts. Network with the people that hire business analysts and network with people that work with business analysts. So the A is the closest to the function, the business analysts, people that work as business analysts. The people that hire business analysts, the recruiters, and the directors of business analysis department, the directors of PMOs where they use business, those are the people that you should network with, not just the recruiters. And then thirdly, well, that's all I got. Thanks, bye.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Bola. That was really fun. Okay, I'll turn it over to.
Wait, sorry.
I'll turn
Did
it over
someone
to
type
Charles.
Uniben here?
I think people, guys are in Canada. I not even in. Let me say something very funny here. I remember my first job application. I'll just let Charles talk just once I finish.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember my very first application. So of course I applied and then I was called, and then the recruiter said to me, she saw my resume. This guy had worked at Deloitte, and then he's got a master's degree from the UK. Those were the two things that resonated with her, and then he's got a certification. Of course, that's global. Those were the three things that resonated with her on my resume. She doesn't care about everything that I wrote there, and I got that from when we were conversing. So when I finished all my, in brackets, in quote, all my boo-boo, she said to me, so where did you get all of this experience from? Is it all from Nigeria? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, from Nigeria. And then something told me, if you say from Nigeria and you put a full stop there, then you will ruin your chance. And I was very desperate. I was already waiting at home and I needed a job. And I said to her, I just took her to school straight immediately. And I used to work with one of the telcos, MTN, back home. And I used the opportunity to tell her about MTN and how I'd worked with the best consultants in the world, McKinsey. A lot of them don't even know McKinsey. I happen to work with, McKinsey consultants on my transformation project. And I did a lot of stuff with directors, and then I started highlighting all of those stuff. I quickly sold MTN to her. I told her that's the largest telco in sub-Saharan Africa. I didn't paint it like, oh, it's a South African company or it's a Nigerian company. No, that's global exposure. And I started telling her a lot of stuff. By the time I schooled her, she was done. And she was like, oh, fantastic, great, this, that. Okay, I'll invite you for a face-to-face interview and I'll send you an email in a few minutes. And that was it. That was how I was able to attend an interview. So if someone says to you, oh, did you get all of that experience in Nigeria? She just wanted to just put me down. I'm like, no. I didn't take no for an answer. And that was it. I actually interrupted her and I had to go straight to the point. So for me, when they look at you, and that was then, they will think, oh, you don't have Canadian experience. I'm like, I'm talking to C-level executives. What do you mean? You know what I mean? So sometimes those things, you just want to be able to, leverage on your strengths. They want you to talk. When you go for an interview, guys, when they ask you 1 + 1, don't say 1 + 1 is 2 and then keep quiet. Explain to them why 1 + 1 is 2 and how many ways you can actually get your 1 + 1 equals 2, and keep on talking. They want someone who is chatty. They want someone who can talk. Speak to them, be free. If they ask, do you want water? Do you want coffee? Oh, sure. Be free. When they ask you a question, ask them. They're describing a process to you. Guys, don't just sit down there and then you answer like, oh, they're not that. You are more than that. Just go for it. Ask them to give you a marker. Draw the process flow. Do you have a whiteboard? This is an interview. Take control of the boardroom. That's how to get ahead, guys. I'm sorry I'm getting too passionate about this, but I think I'll just turn it over to Charles to say his last words. You're still muted, right?
Okay, sorry about that. That happens to me very often at work. So it's been a very interesting conversation so far, and I don't think we're missing out anything. And really, if you think about it, it's very useful advice you've gotten if you let it stick. So network as much as you can. Invest in yourself, in developing, in getting trained and developing these skills. meet people. It's really your level of success is going to depend on the success you get on these sub activities. So an interesting thing is you don't have to get an A in all of them. So let the one you're strong in help you make up for the ones you're not strong in. And you just need to get to that point. So if you network effectively, let that be at the forefront of your strategy. That doesn't mean let others go, but try to improve on those. But since you're very strong in this, let it shine through. If you're the very good at acing your certifications and you have the resources to get them, resources here being money and time to do the study, then let that help you. The important thing is you need to get into that interview. And when you get in that interview, like Shagun mentioned, it's always important to back it up with what they expect. It's really, we have a lot. I'm speaking with a perspective that most folks have from Nigeria. The value we have from back home, my work at home, then you go when the job gets done, so do whatever you want, but you know what job that needs to get done, get it done. And it's compared with the average, what's obtainable here, you can really go really far here doing that. So it's don't settle for less as well. Take the bull by the horn. Don't settle like, oh, because maybe let me just take the lowest one. No. Define what you want and do the needful to make it happen. I didn't end up in IGT. I thought about all the opportunities in New Brunswick. I'd worked in government, so it was a lot easier for me to get a government position. But I was losing my mind in government. I wanted somewhere that was more fast-paced. I wanted somewhere I was on the other side of the table. I wasn't the in-house guy. I was the external guy coming in to implement the solution. And that was what endeared me to IJT. You're selling solutions. You're deploying at the customers. It's a bit of travel. Like you're doing new projects every now and then. So you're meeting new people. It keeps things interesting. And one thing that I do unconsciously, I look at these job postings, even when I have a job. You look at the job postings, it tells you exactly what skills you need to have. And then when you see a recurring skill, when you see job postings that keep saying you need CBAP, maybe you should consider getting CBAP. So if you're looking for a BA position in government, a CBAP would be an invaluable investment for you. So when I was looking at job postings, I noticed IJT, they were using doors for their requirement management. And I've worked on doors briefly in the past. I went and did a bit of research and I discovered some guys had a 1-month trial. I installed it and it was a lot easier for me. I mean, I managed requirements with other applications, Confluence particularly. And so it was very easy to get in. In 2-3 weeks, I was quite proficient. So when I applied and said I'm very proficient in those, it very easily singles me out. So, I mean, nobody called me and told me do this. I figured that because really, it's 1,001 people who want these jobs. You have a lot of Indians who have a lot of these skills. So think about what will you do that will separate you from the pack. That's what it is. So if you have a banking background and it's something that's connected that could differentiate, use it. Really, trust me, this is a society that values people bringing value. So if you can establish that you can bring that value, that's all it takes. Okay, that's pretty much it from my
guys.
end.
Thank you very much, Charles. We really do appreciate your wealth of experience. And I want to say thank you to Ball as well. We really do appreciate you being able to come in here today, as well as Eno. We really, 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 really enjoyed your story. And thank you for always sharing your story. So guys,
It's been some very wonderful 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're going to have to close the curtains for today, but I assure you guys we would have another session soon, and we'll have another, very interesting lineup of speakers, you know, who are going to be talking about more specialized, type of BA, So watch this space and feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. Bella is on LinkedIn. Eno is on LinkedIn. Charles is on LinkedIn. Myself, I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect. I mean, that's kind of very important, as BAs. Thank you very much as well for, attending the session. We really do appreciate you guys. You can show your face for a minute and just wave. Everybody that's been hiding their faces, is really, really, really great to connect with you all. Thank you very much for showing up. So don't forget, don't be a vanilla BA. Always highlight your accomplishments. Always put yourself out there. Always ensure that you connect with the right people. They can do it. Make it about those guys, not just you. Don't reach out when just you have a challenge. Feel free to, connect with everyone. It's great to see you, Michael. And Edward, it's good to see you. And feel free to reach out. I've just dropped my email right in the chat box here. And on this note, we'll be signing out at this point. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. And for those who registered, I'll try to send you a snippet of the a recording of the event. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful afternoon as well, and enjoy the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, and
Right.
thank you, Bola.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bless.
Thank you.
Say hello. Hello. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just be ending the meeting right now. Thank you all.
Yeah.